Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for joining. If you're here, please give me a thumbs up for this video. I appreciate that. So for the first question, it comes to us from the CXC past paper question from 2018. So let's get right on with it. So the first one comes to us from fractions. So it's using a calculator or otherwise calculate 5.5 divided by 3 2/3 plus 1 4/5. What we do here, guys, is to apply the method of BODMAS, or some say BIDMAS, some will say BOMDAS. All right, so BODMAS tells us that we need to divide before we add. All right, so these are brackets of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Some people say PEMDAS. Instead of bracket, they say parentheses. That's the same thing. So let's get right into it. So for this one, guys, we need to divide first. So we divide in the first two parts of the question. So it's this part. So it's 5.5 divided by 3 2/3. So remember, when you're dividing, it's easier when you convert the numbers to improper fraction and then you simplify. So let's go. So we're going to be multiplying and adding. All right. So 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So it's 11 over 2 divided by 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11 over 3. So from here, guys, we apply the rule that says we keep the first term, the first part, we change the sign to multiplication and we flip this, or some will say reciprocate the same thing. So let's go. We're going to keep the first part. We're going to change the sign. We're going to flip this, meaning we're going to turn it upside down. So it's 3 over 11. From here, you need to simplify either by cancellation or you go ahead and simplify by multiplying across. All right, so let's get on. So here we see 11 can cancel each other. So we're going to be doing that. So we're going to get cancel this 11. For here, we'll have 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. So it's 3 over 2. Now, we need to use this 3 over 2 and add it to the 1 4/5. So let's do that part. So it's going to be 3 over 2 plus 1 4 over 5. Now we are going to do the addition part. Addition part varies because some persons learn differently, but what I'm going to teach you now is to convert this section to an improper fraction and then you add by finding the LCM if the denominators are not the same and so forth. So let's go. So we're going to multiply and then we add. So 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's 9 over 5 plus 3 over 2. Here we have two unlike denominators. So what we need to do is to find the LCM. And the LCM between 5 and 2 is 10. Or of 5 and 2 is 10. So we can multiply this part by 5. And we can multiply this axis by 2. If you multiply the denominator by 5, do the same thing to the numerator. And the same thing on this side. And this method is known as the equivalent fraction method. So 3 times 5 is 15 over 10. And 2 times 9 is 18 over 10. When you add those two, you should get 33 over 10. If you want to, you can write as a mixed fraction, but I'm going to leave it as that. And I hope this part was okay and simple. If not, leave me a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So the next part of the question says we have to factorize the following expressions completely. So you know, factorization have different components to it. So the goal is to take out what is common to each term and then you continue by doing multiplication. So our cancellation or division, how you want to put it. So in this case, we check these two terms to see what is common between both of them. And here we see h is common. So h is a common factor. You're going to be taking the h out. From this, you need to then see what is left when the factor of h is taken from 5h squared. This basically you expanding, says 5h times h divided by h. All right, what I did was expand the first term. So it's 5h squared h times h. And since as h is a factor, we're going to take it out and divide it by it. So when you cancel that, you will get 5h in parentheses. All right. For this part here, it says h into 12hg. If you're past this stage, guys, you can just easily do this by looking at the question. But for persons who are not past this stage, I'm showing you this method. So the h's will cancel. So from here, we have 12g remaining. Having this, guys, if you should expand the bracket by using the distributive property, by say h times 5h and h times negative 12g, you should get back where you start from. And so this will be our final answer. So the second part says 2x squared minus x minus 6. So the same instruction applies. We need to factorize. So for this one, guys, you see that it's in a quadratic form. How do I know? The highest power of x is 2. So there are different methods of doing this, but I'm going to use the AC method, as that seems the simplest right now. So the AC method say, guys, a times c, the product of a and c, you need two numbers. When you add it, you get the middle term. So from here, what persons are normally advised to do is to tell the value of a. So a is 2. How do you know? The general form is ax squared plus bx plus c for the expression. So whatever is beside the x squared is a, b is what beside the b, whatever beside the x, and c stands on its own. So a here is 2, b is equal to a negative 1, because a 1 is in front of this x, is a negative 1, and c is equal to negative 6. Alright, guys, so from here, the AC method says a times c, so you multiply these two, so a is 2, and c is negative 6. If you multiply, you get negative 12. Now we need two factors of negative 12 that when we add them, we get a negative 1. If you don't know, you can go ahead and list them out, which is totally fine. So I'm going to use 1 and negative 12. I'm going to use 2, negative 6, 3, negative 4, 4, negative 3, and the list goes on. All right. So I'm going to stop right here because I see my answer coming out right here. That means if I add 3 and negative 4, I should get negative 1 for my answer. So having this, guys, this is now going to use to replace the negative 1 that is right here. And if you don't understand this method, you can go watch some videos I have and explain them in detail, like down to the T. So from this, guys, we're going to now replace the b value, which is negative 1, with the 3 and the negative 4. So let's go. So it's going to be 2x squared. Instead of negative 1x, we're going to put 3x and 4. So it's a negative 4x plus 3x minus 6. From here, we have 4 terms. And you know, once you have 4 terms and you're going to be factorizing, we need to do grouping method. So we're going to group the first 2 and the last 2. And I'll group these 2 because they have common numbers in common, or say common factors. All right, so 2x squared and 4x, between those, we have 2x being common, with being the highest common factor. So the same procedure we did up here where we divided by h on both sides. We're going to do the same thing down here. So when you divide 2x into 2x squared, you're going to be left with x. 2x into 4x is going to be a negative 2. From here, you see these two have 3 in common. So we're going to take out the positive 3, and we're going to do another set of factorization. So 3 into 3x, we're left with x. 3 into negative 6, we're left with a negative 2. And so from here, we check to see if whatever's in the brackets is the same thing, or the parentheses are the same thing. If they are the same thing, you go ahead and do another factorization. So from here, all of this is one term, and here is another term. So between these two terms, x minus 2 is common, and we're left with 2x plus 3. All right, and there we go for our final answer. One more thing, guys, if you should distribute these two parentheses, or these two brackets, we call them binomial. If you distribute these two binomial expression, you should get back the original one that you started out with. All right, so under exam conditions, you have enough time, you can go ahead and check it out. But if you don't, let's move on to the next question. So this question says make k the subject of the formula. So persons know this to be transposition, where you do the opposite operation all the time. So if you see they're adding, opposite will be subtracting, multiplying, dividing, multiplying, subtracting is adding. If you see them find the square of something, you go ahead and find the square root. If it's going to be to the third power, you find the cubic root, and the list goes on. All right. So from here we need to solve for k, and so k is right here beside with the k square multiplied by the pi. So the first thing we need to do is to try to eliminate the 3t here, and since this is adding, we need to subtract 3t from both sides. Again guys, I have some videos that on my channel relating to transposition. You can go ahead and check it out, and it's super easy. So from here the 3t's will cancel. So on this side we have 2a minus 3t is equal to pi k square. So from here we see that the pi and the k square are multiplying, so we do the opposite operation, which is dividing. So we divide both sides by the pi because we want the k, so we can't touch the k as yet guys. So we divide both sides by pi. On this side the pi's will cancel, so we are left with k square, and that's equal to 2a plus what am I saying plus minus 3t all over pi. Now we want to get rid of the square. We only want k. So to get rid of the square, we basically do the square root of both sides. So if you square root this side and you square root this side, this square will cancel the square root, or the 2 cancel the square root. And on this side we have, so it's going to be k is equal to the square root of 2a minus 3t all over pi. One misconception that many persons will have guys is that when they find the square root of both sides, they only do the numerator and not the denominator. But you need to ensure that the square root sign comes down to the denominator part, alright? It needs to cover everything on this side once a fraction is over there. So that's our answer. K is equal to 2, the square root of 2a minus 3t divided by pi. And I hope this one was okay for you as well. If not, leave me a comment and I'll always respond to you. So our last question says solve the equation, and this guys is basically in the first section of the paper, so you know that they're just basically warming you up for the what to come. So for this one we're going to solve for r, because r is the unknown variable there. So let's get on. So if you want to, you can do the parentheses first. That's what they normally advise us to do. But if you want to, you could get rid of this r from this side. As I showed you earlier, you carry out the opposite operation at all times. So I'm going to subtract r from both sides here. So that cancels. So 3 is equal to 3 times r minus 5, subtract r. From here, I'm going to do the parentheses or the brackets. So it's 3 times r and 3 times a negative 5. So that's 3r minus 15 minus r is equal to 3. So from here, guys, into group like terms. So you're going to group this 3r with the negative r over here. And that will give you a 2r minus 15 is equal to 3. From here, we need to find the value of r. So our goal is to eliminate this negative 15. So we have to add 15 to both sides to do the additive inverse of the number we're seeing. So that cancels. So 2r is equal to 18. From here, we divide by 2 on both sides. That cancels. So r is equal to 9. Alright, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you coming this far. So if you wanted to, you could also distribute the r first, and then you get the 15 on the other side and the r on the just group like terms from there. But it's up to you how you approach a question, guys. Different approach, just one answer. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend about me. Let them come and learn something. As you know, persons who have helped before got grade 1, grade 2, and even grade 3. So over here is a success corner. I'll see you on my next video.